Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back. Welcome back. It's your boy Tazion, and this is another episode of All Access Culture. That's right. Let's give it up. Let's give it up. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right. Today we're going to be talking about the Lakers, right? We're going to be talking about the Lakers. So over there in the Laker land, you got LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and you got Austin Reeves as your top three scorers, right? So they doing their thing. They done made their way into like a playoff picture or whatever. You know, they doing pretty good. Now we all know that LeBron been in the league for over 20 years now, right? Over 20 years. We all know LeBron been in the league for a while now. And he's with a franchise right now that is very historically known for winning championships, right? Very historically known for winning championships. So you got Luca fresh off the trade. You got Luca fresh off the trade, and you know, Reeves has been in the league for a couple years now. So you get Luca Doncic to come over to the Lakers after LeBron been trying to carry it on his back for a couple years, right? And you know, Reeves has been in the league for a couple years now. So you get Luka Doncic to come over to the Lakers after LeBron been trying to carry it on his back for a couple of years, right? Now Reeves, ever since he done came in the league, his scoring average then went up, right? He started off his first year probably like 13 points a game. Up to now, he's up to like 23 points a game. Now that's a big leap, you know what I'm saying? Big leap. So when we was looking at the Lakers and after the Kobe era, and we was thinking like, where does the Lakers go from here, right? So they brought in LeBron, so we were like, okay, that's good, LeBron definitely can get championships, but with his starring cast that's been surrounded around him so far, he ain't been able to pull it off. Now the team is looking kind of different with Luka Doncic on it, right? It's looking kind of different with Luka Doncic. And like I said, Reeves, right? 23 points a game. And they call him Hillbilly Kobe, right? AR 15. So the boy, he can shoot that ball. He can shoot that ball. He got the IQ, and he's not in the game for nothing. He's definitely somebody who can score that ball. So we can't look at Luca and say what's going on with him. I mean, we can't look at Reeves and say what's going on with him because he's definitely somebody who's contributing to the team. He's a plus, not a minus. He's a plus, not a minus. So I like Reeves, right? AR 15. He's splashing threes. You know what I mean? He playing D, and he actually can cut to the goal and you know what I'm saying, make plays for himself, and that's a plus, right? So outside of Reeves, you got Luca, right? Luca Doncic. We all know Luca Doncic is probably the best player in the league to this day, since he been in the league, right? So Luka Doncic is also the scoring leader this year, right? He's the NBA scoring leader with 32 points a game. You know what I'm saying? So that means he's scoring more than Shay. You know what I mean? Yes, that's right. He's scoring better than Shay. It's crazy, right? But we got to take our hats off to Luca because Luca game is so crazy, right? Like he's just not a fast paced player that that's going to take you off the dribble all the time. His play is really based on his IQ and knowing how to get to his spots and playing off ball screens, right? He do that to a high efficiency, right? He do that to a high efficiency. Like he's somebody who plays like an old school player, right? He plays like they played back in the 90s or maybe even early 80s or something like that. He's just not no fast paced player. He's a half court player where he sets up his shot when he get past the half court, right? Everything's gonna happen after he get past half court, basically, right? Like he's not no fast and transition type player who's very athletic that's gonna jump out the gym or none of that. But at the same time, he's still the number one scorer in the NBA, right? So that says a lot for Luka and his game and what he contributes to the Lakers, right? Okay, so we talked about Reeves, we talked about Luka, right? Two outstanding players who can kind of carry the Lakers if they had like some help. Let's be honest. They need some help. So LeBron right now scoring 21 points a game. He's like 41, 42, something like that. It's crazy, right? 41, 42, still scoring 21 points a game. You can't take nothing from him. You can't say nothing about him. He's been an MVP. He's been a champion. And but it's come the time where, after this season, the Lakers might have to look forward and move on from LeBron James. And I'm pretty sure this probably gonna be his last season anyway, right? Like he should go and retire. A lot of people saying that he's gonna go back to Cleveland, right? A lot of people saying that he's gonna spend his last year in Cleveland and try to bring a championship back to his hometown, right? And that'll be awesome. That'll be awesome if he do that, because I could only imagine him playing with James Harden and Mitchell, what I mean, the Fro, Tyson, like that'll be an awesome team. They got Schroeder over there. We're gonna talk about Schroeder later on, but that would be awesome. If they could do that, right? That'll be awesome if they can bring LeBron back and he can bring the championship back to the Cleveland Cavaliers, because the team that the Cleveland Cavaliers got right now, they honestly can win the East Coast Conference, right? They got James Harden, a new addition over there, and Mitchell. They got the Fro, like I said, Tyson, Morrell with a nice 3-point shot, and they definitely a team that can take the East Coast Conference right now. But back to LeBron, right? Back to LeBron. I would love to see them. I would love to see him go back to Cleveland and get that championship. But right now he's over there with the Lakers, and you know they doing good. The Lakers is doing good, but for me, right? For me, it's gonna be a piece missing with the Lakers right now. It's a piece missing with the Lakers, and they definitely gotta do something. Either better ball movement, to make the game come easier to them. I can't say they don't play defense, because they definitely do. Everybody giving 100%, you know, but like they in the West. We already talked about the teams in the West. We're not gonna go over that again. They got to get past some hard teams in the West, and just with LeBron, Luka, and Reeves, I don't see it. But shout out to the Lakers, and we want to see what's gonna happen next season with LeBron. Right? Is he gonna go back to Cleveland and bring a championship back with Harden and the rest of the team over there? And something we would love to see. And the Lakers, y'all keep balling. You know, anything's possible. but y'all just keep playing hard. We're gonna see what happens, right? Cool, cool. We're gonna talk about the teams in the East Coast right now, right? The four best teams in my eyes in the East Coast right now is definitely the Celtics, Detroit, New York, and Cleveland, right? That's the best four teams in the East Coast right now. And you know, the Celtics. Let's start off talking about the Celtics, right? So the Celtics, Tatum went down and he missed like half of the season already, right? And he just returned, you know what I mean? But in his absence, we didn't see how the role players done stepped up, you know what I'm saying? White done stepped up, they got Horford in there who's rebounding. He got that crazy ass 3-point shot that he somehow he hits, you know what I'm saying? And of course you got Jalen Brown. Now a lot of people say since Tatum went down that Jalen Brown had actually picked up his game and they took it to another level. A lot of people say that right now this is Jalen Brown's team, right? At first, when they both of them was in the lineup, both of them was balling, but it was definitely Jason Tatum's team. If it had 5 seconds on the shot clock and you had to give it to somebody, they was trying to get that ball to Jason Tatum. But since he's been gone, you know, Jalen Brown has stepped it up. And like I gotta be honest, like all the role players with them, some guy, the no names, like Shaquille will say, the no name guys, they done stepped it up. And but yeah, Jalen Brown has been awesome since Tatum's been gone. And yeah, man, a lot of people say that this Jalen Brown's team, right? You know what I mean? Like Jalen Brown is doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? So we can't take nothing from Jalen Brown, right? So Boston Celtics, right? Let's talk about their center down there. 26-year-old Neemias Quinta, something like that. Neemias Quinta, and he's averaging 10 points a game, 8 rebounds, and that's pretty good for a young guy. Neemias, he's from Portuguese, and he's with the Boston Celtics right now. 39th pick in the draft, right? So yeah, Neemias, right, the center over there with the Celtics, right? His last game with the Mavericks, he scored 16 points, right? Uh, 15 rebounds. 16 points, 15 rebounds is pretty good. The game before that, they played the Hornets, which was a barn burner. You know what I'm saying? He scored 16 points, 2 rebounds. You know what I mean? He was definitely getting out rebound that game. And outside of that, right, Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown, they're gonna make up for all the scoring and like the playmaking and stuff like that. So if he can keep up his rebounding, he'll be a good part right there. Be a good part with the Celtics, right? He'll be a good player, and he can find his way definitely permanently in a rotation, right? Now, Preacher, right? Preacher, he's a high impact guard coming off the bench, right? Like he drains the three easily, and he's somebody who you got to watch out for too, right? He's somebody who can sneak in the game. Before you know it, he got about 16 points his damn self, right? So he's somebody you got to watch. He's a high impact guard, and like he mixed well with the Celtics, right? Now, as far as Derek White, like I hear a lot of people saying that Derek White kind of fell off since last season, and he ain't putting up the kind of numbers that he used to. But he got to work around the system, right? He got to work around that system, and I think that's definitely what they're doing with Tatum going going down, and I think like a lot of people got moved around in that system, right? to make it work for them. And it's definitely working because, like I said, they probably like number two, three in the East Coast Conference right now, and they doing pretty good, right? They doing pretty good. Now, when we think of the Celtics, right? When we think of the Boston Celtics, like the history of the Boston Celtics is very big, right? Very big. And we can go all the way back to the days of Bill Russell, right? You go back to the days of Bill Russell, and that was a team that was untouched, even the days of Larry Bird, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, Bill Russell was one of them guys who, let's put it like this: Bill Russell got 11 rings. He's the number one player in NBA history with the most championships. Like, do I got to say more? No, I do not. Like, you look at these players these days, even Jordan. Jordan got six. LeBron got four, right? Like Kobe got five. Um, that's still far off from like what Bill Russell did in his days with 11 rings. Now, a lot of people say like the competition and stuff like that wasn't as hard as it is these days. And you're probably right. But unless you got 11 rings, I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear no excuses. Bill, Russ- Bill Russell is one of the top Boston Celtics in history. So shout out to Bill Russell. You know, we showing our respects to our legends, showing our respect to our legends. And he was definitely one of them ones. So, like I said, when you think of the Boston Celtics, when you think of the history of the Boston Celtics, um, they legendary. Like they legend. Like, right? So, like Tatum and Brown over there, they got a long way to go to even get close to what history shows that the Boston Celtics can do in an organization, right? But you know, Tatum is kind of like what maybe 4, 5 years in the league now. You know, put it in the comments if I'm wrong, but he got one ring right now, and Tatum is definitely still one of them ones. But this year they got a lot to get past, right? They got a lot to get past, and like I said, Jason Tatum just come off an injury, and so I think it's gonna be like a little difficult for him to work his way back into the starting lineup. Of course, he gonna get thrown right back in there, but I mean, far as like him playing the way that he used to, right? Like being on beat, like coming off the pick and rolls, coming off the screen, catching that ball fine and doing stuff like that. You know, because he had an Achilles tear. So if we all know them injuries like that, sometimes them injuries like that they end career the player's career. But he's definitely put in the work, and you know they got a special out right now. You can go check it out, and it's like him doing his workouts, and you know what I'm saying, going through recovery and working his way back into the NBA, right? So yeah, shout out to Jason Tatum, shout out to Jaylen Brown, shout out to the whole Celtics and their organization. But like I said, them is one of the teams in the East that you're gonna have to work hard to get past, right? Cool. So let's move on. We're gonna talk about Detroit Celtic. Detroit. We're gonna talk about I said Detroit Celtics. I mean the Detroit Pistons. What am I talking about? The bad boys. Oh, they don't call them the bad boys no more. They don't throw them bows like they used to back in Detroit, right? But they definitely showing what they got. They definitely showing what they got. And Detroit, you know, a lot of people is expecting them to take the East, right? A lot of people expecting Detroit to take the East, and like they got a good argument, right? They got a good argument because what Cade Cunningham has did over there in Detroit is awesome, right? Like he didn't turned his whole team around. Not only him, but his teammates and the role players and stuff like that. They done definitely turned the team around, right? Now you got Thompson over there, twin. Thompson, one of them players who he's very athletic, right? Very athletic, and he can get to the goal. He can create his own shot, get to the goal, rebound, block. Run the court. He's good in transition, and also assist the ball, right? So when we're talking about Thompson, we got to take our hats off to Thompson. Like them two together, it's good, but just them two by themselves is not gonna do it, right? Now Detroit Pistons, like I said, they're a team that they balling right now, right? Like they playing the Brooklyn Nets right now, and they blowing them out, right? 91-77, right? Right? 91-77, and they blowing them out, right? So they number one in the East Coast Conference right now, 45-16, right? 45-16. That's a hell of a record, right? Like Detroit Pistons is balling. Like Cade Cunningham, 24 years old right now, right? We all know that he got drafted with the Spurs, got traded off to the Detroit Pistons, and right now he's currently scoring 25 points a game, right? 25 points a game. 25 points a game, right? 5 rebounds and 9 assists. That's almost a double double every game, right? So shout out to them, man. Like they balling, they balling like crazy. Like they last game before this Nets, they last game that they played, was 106-121 Spurs. We talking about Wemby, right? Wemby is crazy. So yeah, a lot of people saying that it might be the Spurs in Detroit that's going to end up in a championship. I don't know, y'all. We just gonna have to wait and see. But what I do know is Detroit Pistons is one of them teams that's gonna give it their all, and like they got a hella cast that's playing around Cade Cunningham, right? Let's talk. I told you about Thompson, right? Let's talk about some more players. Yeah. So outside of Cade Cunningham, you got Jalen Duran, right? He's you got Jalen Duran, 22 years old, and right now he's averaging 18 points, 10 rebounds, and 1 assist a game, right? Now, that's definitely somebody who Cade Cunningham is mixing with well, right? Like they done figured it out. They done figured it out, and they doing what they need to do. Like he's rebounding that ball like crazy, and like he's hard to handle down low, right? He's hard to handle down low. Like you don't want to come in there playing around, or it's gonna be one of them no, 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 mom, no, 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 no. Jalen Dorn. He comes from Memphis, you know what I'm saying? And he's a young guy. He was pretty good in college, you know what I'm saying? As of right now, he's like the primary offensive player for the Detroit Pistons outside of Cade, right? Like outside of Cade, that's their number two. Basically, that's their number two. That's who they giving it to if it ain't Cade Cunningham. They trying to get it down low to him, let him make something happen, you know what I'm saying? Maybe him getting a double team on him where he can dish it out, overhead throw it like uh for the cutter, looking for the cutter. And yeah, so they playing through Cade Cunningham and Durant, right? So shout out to that guy. Shout out to Detroit. Like who else? Like who else we got on Detroit this ball, right? Who else over there balling in Detroit, man? They got a Sir Thompson over there, right? They got a Sir Thompson, and he's averaging 10 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. You know what I mean? Nothing to brag about, but when he's on the court, like he's a game. You're like, I ain't gonna say he's a game changer, but he's somebody who either gonna draw the foul, find the open man, get the rebound, or make a defensive play. So like sometimes the stats don't show all that a player does when he's out there. Just because he's only scoring 10 points a game doesn't mean that he's not an impact player. He's definitely an impact player when he's on the court. So shout out to Ashur Thompson. And you know what I'm saying? Twin is out there doing his thing. And like I said, they number one in the East. So the proof is in the pudding. You know what I'm saying? It's not just one player, it's a team effort. Thompson is just I wouldn't say a role player because he started, you know what I'm saying? And he's doing his thing. But what about Duncan Robinson, right? Duncan Robinson. You know, he come off the trade. They get Duncan Robinson, and yeah, Miami. He come from Miami, and I think that's a great piece to them because the way he shoot that ball, like that boy can shoot the ball, and you know, we adding all these pieces up, and that's exactly what I'm saying. That what makes a great team. That's what makes a great team, you know. And yeah, man. So Detroit is a team that you got to worry about. Detroit is a team that you got to worry about, and you got to watch out for them players that I told you about because you know they're working together, they're doing what they got to do, and they're number one in the East Coast Conference right now. So shout out to the Detroit Pistons. You know, shout out to the Detroit Pistons. Man. So we done talked about Celtics. We done talked about Detroit. What's the other team in the East that's kicking ass right now? Right? That's right. It's your Cleveland Cavaliers. Donovan Mitchell, Evelyn Mobley, the Fro. You know what I'm saying? Then of course you got the Beard, the new addition to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they balling, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Definitely balling. They definitely balling, right? They definitely balling. So we're gonna start off with Donovan Mitchell, right? Shout out to Coco, matter of fact. But yeah, Donovan Mitchell, right? 29 years old and 28 points per game. You know what I mean? The leading scorer for the team, and we all know that Donovan Mitchell at times can be explosive, right? Like he's a clutch player, hard to stop. Like he put me in the mind of you can't say Jordan because that's definitely a lie. You can't say Kobe because that's far fetched. Definitely can't say LeBron because that's just ridiculous. So let's just say somewhere between Kobe and Magic Johnson, right? Something crazy. Like he's somewhere between there. Explosive a little bit, got the 3-point shot, hustle a lot, moves the ball. No, scratch that. Scratch that. He's definitely not like he's definitely not like Magic. You know what I'm saying? He's just like him. Fuck it. He's just him. And he's a good player. We can't compare him to nobody. Like he's a guy that's balling. He do his own thing and he got his own identity. How about that? So shout out to Donovan Mitchell, you know what I mean, 28 points per game. And he's looking good over there. Shout out to Coca. And yeah, man, like Donovan Mitchell is one of the ones. Like I done seen him make some outstanding plays. And you know, we all thought like maybe last season or season before last. Me personally, I thought that Cleveland was gonna take it all. They was looking that good, right? Cleveland was looking that good where I thought they was gonna take it all. But you know, down the stretch, it kind of just showed that, you know, they didn't have the pieces together. They didn't have everybody that they needed, and like a lot of the teams fall short like that. We would kind of say that they ain't putting the right money into the teams, and they're not getting the right players around them. But the guys that they got, they paid millions, buku millions to. So that's who they got, and that's what they got to work with to make things happen. And Donovan Mitchell, I would say, is worth the money that he's getting. Right? Shout out to Donovan. So like I said, 28 points, four rebounds, 5 assists a game. That's not bad at all, right? That's not bad at all. Their recent game was with the New York Knicks, right? Their last game was with the New York Knicks. It was 109-94. Cleveland. Cleveland took them out the box. You know what I mean? Knocked them out the box. So, and that's actually two of the four teams that I'm talking about. The New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Two of the four out the East that I'm talking about. Of course, the other two would be the Boston Celtics and the Detroit Pistons, right? But obviously, the Knicks didn't have enough to get past Cleveland that night, right? Blew them out. So shout out to Cleveland. Shout out to the Bears. It was a nice game, right? It was a nice game, right? So Jalen Brunson led the New York Knicks that game with 20 points, right? Good game. Good game. Donovan Mitchell, 23 points. Fairly good. But outside of that, what made the difference was, Mitchell Robinson, 16 points, 8 rebounds. Like, that's crazy. He's one of those guys that's been in the league and like I think he just finally found his role. Like he know what to do, he know what the team want him to do, and that's rebound. He's not somebody who you actually look for to throw the ball to the score, but he gets his points off offensive rebounds and putbacks and good looks in the paint. So the game against the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Knicks, he scored 16 points. So we got to take our hats off to Robinson, right? We're taking our hats off, we're giving it up to Robinson. And yeah, good game, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, Donovan Mitchell, 23 points. And yeah, man, I mean, of course they got the beard. Of course they got the beard, right? James Harden, right? He scored 20. So that's a 20 and 20 from your two top players. You can't ask for more. That's pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good. James Harden, 8 for 18, with 20 points, Eh, but he put up the points that he needed, 20 points. That's pretty good. So shout out to James Harden. Allen had 19. So Jared Allen is a player who is, he didn't build his name, right? Let's put it like that. He didn't build his name when, I first used to watch Jared. I was like, okay, he's a very tall guy. Yeah, yeah, he gonna block some shots and he gonna play some defense. But now he's making an impact on the offensive, which Cleveland Cavaliers they definitely gonna have to, well let's say that they definitely need that from him to remain one of them top teams, right? Because like I said, you got Harden and Mitchell, but that's just not gonna be enough the way the NBA is today, right? And Mobley is another guy who he's gonna put up points, rebound, and play defense. So with them four players in itself, like that's a hell of a team, right? That's a hell of a team. And like with Garland when he was over there, it could have went either way, right? So like why the trade happened, like that's a whole lot of inside stuff because Garland is one of them players he can put up points too. You know what I mean? And but I guess just you know from a coaching stand and the organization stand, like it was just a better move for them to get Harden, and that's what happened. And I would say they playing better, right? Like they was winning and back and forth, kind of struggling at first with Garland, and I think he was actually injured before all this stuff, but he's actually came back. He played his first game and he kind of struggled at first, and then he came around. He started coming around, started putting up numbers. So shout out to Garland. But like I said, That's all comes down to the organization and the coaching staff, the big wigs, the guys with the money, and why they make these trades. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, they could have went either way. They could have kept Garland and probably still would have turned it around and still been one of the top teams in the East for sure, right? But they got hard, and I liked it. That team is sexy. Pause. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, they one of the teams in the East that you're gonna have to watch out for. So we talked about them three teams: Detroit Celtics, Cleveland. Now let's talk about the Knicks, right? Let's talk about the Knicks, and the Knicks is a team. They're doing good, right? They're doing good. Towns, like he putting up more double doubles than any player in the league right now. It's a fact. Check the stats, and so that's saying a lot, right? He's number one for double doubles in the league right now, Towns. So that's crazy to me, and so he's not no slouch out there. Um, like when he's battling with another big man, I think down low, as far as being down low, that's not his game. Like he's not gonna overpower nobody. He's not athletic to the point where he's gonna jump out the gym and just dunk on somebody or something like that. That's not his game, and he doesn't try to play that game, right? He looks for off the dribble from the perimeter, drive, look for the foul, or he's taking that 3-point shot, or he's trying to get a mismatch and take advantage of the smaller player down low. That's his game. So, as far as the rebounding, he's a rebounding fool. Like he's going after that ball for him to be number one for double doubles, right? So shout out to Carl Anthony Towns, you know what I'm saying, and the Knicks. But that team right there, uh, I didn't see. The thing about the Knicks, like they always like lately, because first they were just trash. You feel me? Let's be honest. The Knicks was trash. You know what I mean? But as of late, the Knicks, you want to root for them. They're kind of like the Titans, right? They kind of like the Titans, like y'all gonna get my hopes up, and then y'all gonna jack it off, right? Y'all gonna get my hopes up, then y'all gonna jack it off. Pause. But so that's how I feel about the Knicks, man. Like, cause they got the players, they got everything. Like, let's be honest. Like Town, Brunson, Bridges, right? OG, like Robinson, like these players is contributing like crazy, and they like grade A players, top players in the league, and you know, like other teams probably would kill to have these players on their team. But they are with the Knicks right now. But let's put it like this: like they not this year they not trash. But like I said, when it comes down to it and it comes down to playoff time, they always drop the ball. Like they drop the ball. So as of yet, what I mean, like they top uh three. Like I said, they looking good and during the season, the regular season. But when they get to that playoff, they might make it past the first round, and it's looking bad from them. It's looking bad from them. Like, I think last season they got to the semifinals, right? And then they dropped the ball. But we're gonna see what happens with the Knicks and Jalen Brunson, Carl Anthony Towns over there. You know what I'm saying? But there's definitely a team that you got to watch out for, and a very, very, very good team. Like I said, the Knicks, very good team, very good team. So they got like I said, Town, Jalen Brunson. Brunson currently, 29 years old, 26 points per game. You know what I mean? And that's that's very good, right? That's very good. If you scoring that, then you got somebody like Carl Anthony Towns, getting double doubles like crazy. You know what I'm saying? You got Josh Hart, you got Bridges. That's definitely a good team, and a team you're gonna have to watch out for. Number three right now in the league. So man, shout out to the New York Knicks, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I said, man. So them your top four teams in the East Coast Conference right now. Like who will be the number one team in the East Coast Conference to represent when it comes championship time, right? Will it be Boston Celtics? Will it be Detroit Pistons? Will it be the New York Knicks or will it be the Cleveland Cavaliers? I don't know. I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and find out. But this has been another episode of All Access Coaching with your boy Tazion, and I'll holler at y'all next time. Peace. Peace.